Max Verstappen has officially returned to winning form. The reigning world champion delivered a masterclass performance at the 2025 Japanese Grand Prix.
Max Verstappen takes the checkered flag to win in Honda colors in Japan,
holding off the charging McLarens to claim his first victory of the season and his fourth consecutive win at Suzuka. For Verstappen and Red Bull, this wasn't just a win, it was a statement, a signal that the champion is far from finished, even as the rest of the grid begins to close the gap. Suzuka has always been one of Verstappen's favorite circuits, and this weekend proved why. Starting from pole position, he was immediately under pressure from Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, both of whom have been flying since the start of the season. McLaren came into the race weekend as the team with the most momentum, and many predicted they would finally topple Red Bull at a circuit traditionally dominated by the Milton Keynes-based squad. But Verstappen had other plans. The race got off to a clean start, with Verstappen managing to defend his position into Turn 1. Norris and Piastri stayed close, especially in the early laps, as the soft tires began to degrade quickly in the warm and humid Japanese conditions. For much of the first stint, the gap between the top three remained under 2 seconds, with strategy and tire management playing a crucial role. Red Bull, knowing the importance of track position, pitted Verstappen slightly earlier than expected, triggering a response from McLaren. That response led to one of the most dramatic moments of the race. As Norris exited the pits, he found himself side by side with Verstappen heading into Turn 1. The two went wheel to wheel, with Verstappen squeezing Norris toward the edge of the track. The McLaren driver was briefly forced onto the grass, sparking immediate radio complaints. Norris claimed Verstappen had forced him off, a sentiment echoed by many fans and pundits watching. However, the stewards reviewed the incident and chose not to penalize Verstappen, ruling it a hard but fair racing maneuver. Norris, clearly frustrated after the race, said, "He forced me off the track. I had nowhere to go. It was dangerous." But Verstappen shrugged off the criticism. "I left him just enough room. This is racing, and we're not here to make it easy," he responded when asked about the incident. Red Bull team principal Christian Horner also defended his driver, adding that Verstappen's defensive move was part of what makes him such a formidable competitor. Despite the controversy, Verstappen never looked back after that exchange. He managed the gap brilliantly in the second half of the race, even as light rain began to fall in the closing laps. Suzuka is already one of the most challenging circuits on the calendar, but with the track becoming increasingly slippery, Verstappen's ability to control the pace while maintaining tire temperature became even more impressive. Piastri, who had a strong second stint, began to close in on Norris, but ultimately ran out of laps to mount a serious challenge for second place. Behind the top three, Charles Leclerc drove a quiet but solid race to finish fourth for Ferrari, while George Russell took fifth for Mercedes after a tight battle with Carlos Sainz. But all eyes were on Verstappen, who crossed the line with a fist pump and a message over the radio. "That's more like it, guys. Let's keep pushing." It was a clear sign of relief and renewed confidence from the Dutchman, who had been under pressure after a disappointing showing in Melbourne and early pace concerns throughout the Suzuka weekend. This win also tightens up the championship standings in a big way. Coming into the race, Norris led the drivers' standings by a narrow margin, but Verstappen's win now puts him just 1 point behind the McLaren driver. With the momentum swinging back to Red Bull, the season is shaping up to be one of the closest in recent years. The fact that three teams, Red Bull, McLaren, and Ferrari, are all showing signs of competitiveness makes this championship fight even more unpredictable. Strategically, Red Bull's success at Suzuka also showed its ability to adapt under pressure. With tire degradation playing a bigger role this season due to updated Pirelli compounds, getting the pit strategy right has become more critical than ever. Red Bull's early pit stop for Verstappen was a risk. It handed McLaren the opportunity to counter, but the execution in the pits and Verstappen's aggressive outlap gave him just enough of an edge. It's the kind of bold thinking and precise execution that has defined Red Bull during its dominant run. There's a unique psychological edge that comes with winning at Suzuka. This isn't just another track on the calendar. It's a legendary circuit, one that demands precision, bravery, and unshakable focus from every driver. Suzuka rewards excellence and punishes mistakes without mercy. That's why Max Verstappen's win here isn't simply about scoring more points, it's about reasserting dominance in the most high-pressure environment imaginable. He didn't just beat his rivals, he outclassed them at a circuit that reveals a driver's true caliber. For Verstappen, it was a reminder to everyone that even when the Red Bull car isn't at its peak, he can still rise above the rest. And when he crossed the finish line, there was more than just relief. It was a triumph. As Verstappen parked the RB21 and climbed out, Red Bull's mechanics and engineers swarmed around him. Their expressions said it all. This wasn't just a celebration of another race win. It was a moment of redemption. After a shaky start to the season and doubts creeping in from fans and media alike, the reigning world champion had delivered when it mattered most. It was a shot across the bow to McLaren, Ferrari, and anyone else with championship aspirations. Verstappen, it seems, is not ready to relinquish the crown. What's even more remarkable is how the fans responded. Japanese crowds are known for their polite, calm demeanor. But today, Suzuka erupted. The grandstands were a sea of Red Bull blue and Dutch orange, with flags waving and fans cheering as if they were in Zandvoort. The Japanese fans appreciate greatness, and they recognize that what they'd just witnessed was exactly that. Verstappen didn't just win the race, he controlled it with the poise and aggression of a true champion. These are the kinds of moments that become part of F1 folklore. This was Verstappen in his element, cool under pressure, unrelenting on the track, and soaking in the glory with grace. The significance of this win goes beyond just this weekend. It has reignited the championship narrative in a major way. With McLaren showing incredible pace and Ferrari still lurking in the mix, it's clear we're heading into one of the most unpredictable and thrilling title fights in years. But Verstappen's performance at Suzuka suggests he's found that extra gear again, the one that separates great drivers from legends. If this is a turning point, the rest of the grid needs to take notice. Looking ahead, the stakes are only going to get higher. The next race could be decisive for momentum. Can McLaren respond and reclaim the top spot? Will Ferrari finally put together a complete weekend and enter the conversation? Or is Verstappen about to go on one of those relentless runs that we've seen before, where he takes control and refuses to let go? One thing is certain: every session, every lap, every pit stop is going to matter from this point forward. And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth race analysis, daily news updates, and reactions from across the F1 world. We'll be breaking down every Grand Prix, every controversy, and every twist in this already unpredictable season. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Until then, stay sharp, stay fast, and as always, we'll see you after the checkered flag.